Good evening. It is Monday, April 9th, 2018. It is 7 p.m. I call to order the first meeting for the month of April for the Speedway Town Council. I'm David Lindsay, Vice President of the Council. I'd like to welcome everyone in attendance and who's watching on cable and on YouTube. I would also like to welcome other members of the Council present with us this evening. To my far right, Councilor Eileen Fisher.
Good evening.
To my right, Councilor Jason Delisle.
Good evening.
To my left, Councilor Gary Rakes.
Hello, Speedway.
To his left is our Town Manager, Jacob Blaisdell.
Good evening.
And our Town Attorney, Bob Clutter.
Howdy do.
Our agenda has been posted, which we will follow this evening, but prior to our pledge, I'd like to take a few minutes to remember 4 members of our community that have passed away throughout the past several weeks. These past several weeks have been a very difficult time for the 3 families in our community. This has not only affected the 3 families, but it has brought sadness to our entire community. The Town Council wishes to express our deepest condolences to the Roseboro family, the Oaks family, the Oddie family, and the Disney family. At this time, we would request that everyone stand and have a moment of silence for these 3 families. During this time, we ask that you remember those who have left us and remember their families in your thoughts and prayers. Thank you. Thank you. Now, at this time, we will move to the first order on our agenda, which is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 2 on our agenda is approval of the Town Council meeting minutes for the meeting which was held March 12th, 2018. Those have been distributed to council. Any corrections or changes? Hearing none, those are approved as presented. Item 3 on our agenda is approval of the memorandum for the March 12th executive session. Again, those have been distributed. Any corrections? Hearing none, those are accepted as presented. Item 4 is approval of the memorandum for the March 1st joint executive session. Any corrections? Hearing none, those are accepted as presented. Item 5 is approval of the memorandum for the April 3rd joint executive session. Any corrections? Hearing none, those are accepted as presented. Item 6 on our agenda is request for a curb cut at 1820 Lyndhurst Drive. And Christy Lewis is present. If you step forward to the podium, please. Good evening. Hello. You could tell us about your request.
I'm wanting to widen my driveway to alleviate some of that congestion from the cars parked on the street. I recently got engaged, and there's 3 more vehicles at my property now, so wanting to widen it, and then also stage 2 would be to add a 2-car garage. So knock down the existing garage and add a 2-car.
Okay.
That's basically it.
So the council's been given some documents, I believe, that you've drawn. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Weren't they nice?
Very good work. How many feet are you?
Total, it'll be about 30 foot,
Okay.
which my neighbor just to the left of me, hers is 31 foot, so,
Okay.
with the 1-car garage.
Were
And-
you,
oh, go ahead.
sorry, you'd mentioned building a 2-car garage. Were
Within the
would it
next
be
year.
Would it be on the same,
Yeah, where the
Spot where the
existing garage is, knock that down and just extend it to the west. So it would take up that parking or that new driveway entrance.
okay.
I know my drawing's not very good.
No, that's okay.
Will you have a contractor do this work?
I did. I hired somebody, they came out, unbeknown to me, I thought they had pulled permits. They
Okay.
went ahead and broke up the sidewalk, and then I got a stop work order. So that's when I contacted John, submitted the drawings, and now I'm here.
Okay.
So, trying to make things right.
Okay.
So the sidewalk isn't repaired yet, it is filled with gravel.
Okay.
How wide will the garage be when it's completed?
It's a 2-car garage, I'm not really sure, I haven't done that measurement yet.
So the cut was started but stopped. Is that for a gravel drive that you put in? Would that be work done now and then the garage would be like
Right.
next year? Is that what you're?
Right, within the next year, maybe later this summer.
Okay.
But right now, where I pushed my fence back and put the gravel there so we could get cars up into that to get them off the street, well, you can't get up over the curb right there. So I'm just trying to widen it enough to get cars up there. And then when we put the garage in, that will be the entrance to the garage as well.
Okay.
Do you use the garage today for a car?
Yes, there's a car in it. And then there's 4 additional cars. So the one-car garage doesn't work.
Sure. Jacob, I know you mentioned, she mentioned that John has looked at this, but
Yeah.
has engineering or downtown, sometimes we rely on downtown. Has anybody from an engineering perspective looked at this yet? Or John has his input from a building code standpoint, but.
No, I'm not sure if Indianapolis will have bearing on this particular request. So I don't think anything's gone down to Indianapolis at this time.
To my knowledge, nothing's gone downtown.
Right, but
Yeah.
from an engineering perspective, we also have engineers that we rely on in the town. Have we gone to those folks yet for advice on this topic?
I don't know that John has done that at this time.
My goal is really to just get it taken care of. It's been sitting like this for a couple weeks now, and I just want to get it taken care of and get it. I know it's going about it the wrong way, but I was under the assumption the contractors would get the permits, and it didn't happen. So now I just want to get it fixed.
Okay.
I appreciate that. My recommendation, just based on prior experience, would be that we get a professional opinion from an engineering perspective. I know that this resident mentioned a driveway nearby that has 31 feet. I'm not sure how that got done.
Well, there's actually, if you drive down Speedway Drive, there's about 12 houses with one-car garages. I've written down the addresses that all have drive entrances that are probably 30 feet wide.
Right. I appreciate the
So-
fact you've done that. That'll be helpful. But because there's that much of that, it seems like we ought to do our due diligence here and get the professionals to give us an opinion, because none of us actually have that technical expertise as it relates to curb cuts and driveways. My suggestion would be that we hear this at the next meeting. In the meantime, we get the proper information from those that have the technical information.
Sure.
Do you have a contractor lined up
Yeah,
to,
they were going to finish the work this week if this meeting went well,
okay, but do
since the weather's supposed to be nice.
they have any drawings or plans that they've created?
No, they've just cut out like 2.5 sections of the sidewalk, and they were just going to replace it with the lower drive entrance and extend the current 16-foot.
Are they a general contractor who,
They're concrete guys.
Concrete, okay.
Concrete, yeah.
okay,
Which they have talked to John. They met with John, so.
Could I copy down your list of the other
Sure.
houses in the area? And I'll give that right back to you. I'll just write that down on the back. Here,
What was
thank
your
you.
current curb cut? What was the,
It was about 16 foot, 15 to 16. So we're just extending it another 15.
and it looks like they took out some of that already, is that correct?
Yeah.
Some of that?
They broke it up and we're coming back to do it the next day, and that's when John came put the stop work order on it.
But it doesn't look like you're going all, it looks like where your rock is currently is further over to the west.
Oh, yeah, it's
is that
not going
correct?
the full distance of the rock,
So you're just going,
just like 2.5 squares. Can I show you on the drawing?
yeah, so on this right here,
Yeah, so it'll just be going to like right here, which that's a bed. So it'll probably be going to like right here, which at this angle, it's only like halfway.
does that make sense? So it's not that full, because
So we're
I
just
thought,
wanting to pull in this way up into this drive area.
Right.
Until we can get the 2-car garage put here.
and I thought originally you're looking to go all
Oh,
the way
no,
back
no,
here.
No,
Okay,
it's only going 1, 2, and like.
so like in between those two orange cones.
Okay.
Which would be, So her curb cut was already right there.
Can you hold that up, Eileen?
Yep. She,
About where?
so her curb cut was already right here, and so she's going to go here.
Just inside the third cone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it doesn't go all the way over to the fence.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm wanting at
Or
all.
even the edge of your
No.
your gravel that's there now?
Oh, no.
Are you planning to
It's-
pave that as well?
Eventually, yeah, after we get I didn't want to put pavement there and then put the garage and,
Have it all be
Yeah.
the right level? Yeah, I mean, my original thought in the comments that I made were because all the curb that's been taken out.
Oh.
But it makes sense that, again, I'm not technical in this regard, but it makes sense that you would have it start to radius down
Right,
to
it'll slope
street
down.
level. And if it's somewhere between those two cones, what it looks like you would do is pull, maybe you'd back in or whatever, but you pull in where that car is located.
right,
And then
be able to pull
the other
out.
one would be pulled in beside it. You
Right.
still have the middle lane between the first car garage and the new parking area. You'd be open to be able to pull those cars in that way. Is
Right.
that right?
Because right now.
Could we have our
Wendell?
Public
Yeah.
Works Director step up, Wendell, if you could?
Sure.
What we have is, with John and this information and the request come about, is we have specs that we put everything back to.
Oh, thank you.
And there's wings that would come off that approach, and we also have a storm basin that's close to that. Since when we take that asphalt out, we have to make sure the stormwater will move to that storm basin and stuff. So we want to work with take this under review, work with your contractor to make sure everything is put back correctly, because we have specs and standards on the approach and the sidewalks that need to go back, and the curbs. They need to go down deeper than what they've just busted out, so we have to look at all that and make sure it's all done back properly.
So
The storm drain is on the other side of the driveway. It's not getting affected by the new pour of the concrete, because it's on the right side of the driveway, that's on the left.
So you've provided lots of pictures. Thanks for that. There's the last picture here shows a trash can. Is it near there?
Can I come up
Sure,
here?
please.
The storm drain is closer to the intersection.
Is it over here?
So it would come this way,
Where's the storm
this
drain
way.
now?
The storm drain is right there.
Yeah, that's what I meant, in front of that trash can.
So I'm extending over this way.
Yeah.
So Wendell, am I correct in saying this is a work in progress and staff feels they need more time to review this?
We would like to review it and
Okay.
get back with her contractor or her concrete person to make sure the curbing is set down correctly and the drainage that comes off, because anytime you pull that concrete up, you're disturbing that asphalt. So we want to make sure everything is correct. The water comes off her property, the water moves down the street to the drainage system.
I'll ask
So
our-
there's a combination of stuff that need to be looked at.
I'll ask our
there.
town attorney that I'm doing this correct, since I usually don't sit in this seat this year. Do we need concurrence to move this to the next meeting?
I would suggest a motion to table it.
I moved to table it based on technical and legal recommendation.
Second.
Been a motion, a second, to table the request until our second meeting for the month. Call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries 4-0.
I would make a comment. I
Sure.
appreciate the effort you're going to, and it sounds like we're moving in the right direction here. So don't be
So-
discouraged.
So what do I need to do? I need to get my contractor with you all?
We will, council votes on this and approves it. We will take this in review, and then we'll have questions back to the contractor, and they will pick up, when they do their permitting and stuff, they will pick up all our specs and everything. So if council approves it at our next meeting and stuff, then the permit, you can get the permit, and all the specs will be ready for you.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to encourage you, though, because you're doing work that your contractor really should have done in advance, and so I'm sorry you have to be doing that heavier lifting, but it's work that needs to be done, but thank you for the work you're doing.
Can I ask you a quick question
Sure.
while this is on the table? When I go to do the garage, is that something I need to present again, or can you take that in consideration when you're doing this?
Is that zoning?
Yes, that would be zoning.
Yeah, that's,
Okay.
the garage will not come before the council, it comes before our zoning board.
All right.
This is a special situation because of the curb cut,
Yeah.
Correct.
because of, some of the things that Wendell mentioned too, affecting drainage or other things going on with the street. That's why it's, Building a garage is kind of a different process, but the curb cut is, have
I
to go
just
through
wanna
these
make sure.
processes, unfortunately.
I was
Yeah,
on that
and-
same
Unfortunately.
page.
And this is not a guarantee, but the expansion of garages and things of that nature, oftentimes, if handled appropriately, and a contractor that's going to build that typically would know to go through the process, and those usually fly, they move through
Quicker than
most,
this?
well, they also move through most of the time the way you want it,
Okay,
as long as it's done according to that.
all righty, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Item 7 on our agenda is approval of an agreement for the 15th Street Alley Drainage Project. Jacob?
Yeah, or I don't know, Wendell, if you want to come back up and grace us with your presence to kind of discuss more in detail of the drainage project that we're working on with Eagle Valley.
Yes, this is a quote that we went out and got for this project. Just a little history, the dry well system in that alley has failed. We rebuilt all of our dry wells a couple of years ago, cleaned them out and rebuilt them. This one continued to fail, so that we pinpointed as a priority to get a drainage system put in there. And talking with our counsel, our attorney, he said, we might want to look at a design-build system here that will save us some money also. And we did do that, and we put out the quotes that come back. Both of the companies had the same piping, trenching, repairs, and everything. And the lowest quote come back in at $81,064. And our recommendation, your approval, you go with that.
So just to clarify, the agreement would be with Globe Asphalt was the low
sorry.
bidder on this. Yep.
Thank you. Mr. President, I would make a motion that we approve the project in the amount of $81,064 with Globe Asphalt Paving as presented.
Second.
Been a motion and a second to approve the agreement with Globe Asphalt Paving. Any questions from the audience? Any further questions from council? Hearing none, we'll then call for the vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wendell. Item 8 on our agenda is Resolution 2018-05. I think they wrote this long, so I would have to read it. It says a resolution authorizing the submittal of the Community Development Block Grant application to the Indiana Housing and Community Development Authority, receipt of CDBG funds. How was that?
I think you said it all already. I think we're covered now.
You have anything else to add, Jacob?
A couple of things. So this is a grant that we applied for, well, seems like a very, very long time ago. This was the Aging in Place grant, I think we called it a lot. So these are funds to help folks with various repairs and modifications of their homes, particularly elderly, to make the modifications they need to their houses to help them out. So we were awarded the grant, and then we waited and waited and waited. And we were just given the packet to actually move forward with it. So we do have Deb Lilly, who has been here and helped us through the application process. I don't know, Deb, if you want to kind of walk us through some of this and kind of where we're at with the process. Some of the language is a little bit interesting in that it kind of authorizes us to apply for the funds sort of again, but we've been approved. But Deb, maybe you can walk us through that.
They do this a little bit backwards, because typically a resolution to apply for funding starts before you apply. But Indiana Housing does it this way, so we're signing it all at once. Your approval to go forward and your approval to administer the project. We've also asked, Jacob had requested that I ask the funder to see if in fact he could be the signatory to make things easier on a day-to-day basis, and we did get approval to do that. So when you are considering the resolution, the two names on the front of the resolution would likely be Jacob's and the clerk treasurer's. And then if the council would execute the rest of the document, we're good to go. Upon leaving tonight, then, I will leave this entire packet with Jacob. I sat with Michelle today, and we went through it page by page and talked about where to sign and that good stuff. So we have all of this, and then the city or the town will go ahead and send it up to the state. Just to kind of refresh your memories, we did get funding to serve 9 homes. We will be contacting those persons fairly soon. When we get the executed grant agreement back is when the actual work can begin. And so that's where we are now, and we're hoping that this turns around in about 2 weeks.
Great. So before anyone makes a motion here, just want to confirm something. On the second page, it's chief elected official. Our president's not here, but our vice president is, because he's vice president that serves as the chief. So it does. So if we approve this evening, no problem. Great. Not hearing a motion, I'll make one. Resolution, I make a motion that we approve Resolution 2018-5, and thank you.
Okay, so can I leave this with you then?
Yeah.
Second.
With that, I might suggest inserting Jacob and Monty's names as the
Okay.
individuals empowered to authorize, execute, and
So I'll amend that recommendation or that motion to include our town manager and clerk treasurer, Jacob and Monty, on the 2 lines on the first page.
Second that amendment.
There's been a motion and an amended motion to accept Resolution 2018-05. Any questions from the audience? Any further questions from council?
Yeah, so do we already have these houses already approved, or?
We do not.
Oh, okay.
We have the persons in the database, and we will be documenting everything, but no one's been approved. That will come before.
Okay.
Another question, can we have the ones that have applied, can any be added if we have additional dollars left over?
Yes. The program lasts for 18 months. I believe that we have just over the amount that we can serve right now. So if any of those would fall out for any reasons, no insurance or whatever, we would be looking at additional applications.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Hearing none, I'll then call for the vote. All those in favor of approving Resolution 2018-05, say aye.
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 Opposed? Carries 4-0. Item 9 on our agenda is approval of claims and utility adjustments from our clerk treasurer. Monty is not with us this evening, but he has given us the claims, which I told him I would graciously fill his shoes. I don't know that I ever could. But we'll start with the claims. Those have been given to council for review. They are from, I don't see the date.
310 to 46.
There you go. 310 to 46. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that.
Mr. Vice President, I move that we approve these claims from March 10th through April 6th.
Second.
Just if I look at the second page, I'd see that, wouldn't I? It's been a motion, a second, to approve the claims from our clerk treasurer. Any questions from the audience? Any questions from council? Hearing none, we'll then call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Carries 4-0. Next are utility adjustments. Those have also been given to council prior to the meeting for review. Hear a motion for the utility adjustments.
President, I move that we approve the utility adjustments for the same days, March 10th through April 6th.
Second.
It's been a motion, a second, to approve the utility adjustments from our clerk treasurer's office. Any questions from the audience? Questions from council? Hearing none, we'll then call for the vote. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Carries 4-0. Item 10 on our agenda is report from department supervisors, and we will start from the top of the list. Mr. Tim Gropp, our Economic Development Director.
Good evening, council. Just a few updates from me tonight. The first one tomorrow from 2 to 5 with a ribbon cutting at 2:30. Bell Racing Helmets, new pro shop on Main Street, 1330 Main Street, will be open to the public. Encourage everybody to come down and welcome this new business to Main Street. It should be a lot of fun. They're planning a lot of festivities for that time. So again, 2 to 5 tomorrow. The Redevelopment Commission, Speedway Redevelopment Commission recently completed the sale of the building at 2828 North High School Road to Fatheads Eyewear. They also recently received approval at the BZA, so everything's full steam ahead out there. We were able to tour the building a couple weeks back. They're doing a really nice job. Their investment is higher than they originally thought it would be, so we're excited about that. That'll be a nice addition up on High School Road, and all approvals are in place, and they're moving forward. So we're excited about that. Wilshaw continues to make progress. We're hoping that there's framing by the end of the month on the apartment side, and that in mid-May that they'll be starting the foundation work on the hotel. We're hoping to have a groundbreaking. Nothing's been set yet. I know it's halfway built, but ceremonial groundbreaking once the hotel portion kicks off. So we'll keep the public up to date when we'll be doing that as well, hopefully early May. And then on 2500 High School Road, now that a lot of the engineering work's been completed, we're getting some conceptual layouts that could be possibilities up in that area. Soon we're hopefully get those this week, and then we'll be able to get some feedback on those, and then have a public input session towards the end of the month if possible. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Next is our police chief, Jim Campbell.
Good evening. You know, there's a Chinese proverb that says a picture's worth 1,000 words. So I'm going to save 1,000 words, and our Director of Administration has proof.
Spin wheel, spin.
You know, it goes without saying that, you know, the men and women of the Speedway Police Department deserve the credit. People like Sarah spend a lot of hours, and, you know, Lieutenant Teeley.
Sarah, can you bring that up here to me? I've practiced hours to do this. If the camera would like to focus on this.
Keep going, Chief.
Again, about 4 to 5% of the police agencies in the country have that accreditation. So it is quite an accomplishment. The conference that we attended, there were 109 agencies receiving their accreditation at this particular conference. So again, I'll save the 1,000 words. If anybody wants to know more, I'll make myself, or actually I'll make Sarah available to tell you how we did it. How's that? Secondly, the Public Safety Committee meets tomorrow at 1:30 at the Brickyard Inn. We do invite the public, and Shred It is April 21st. So anyone that's interested in dropping off or utilizing that service, it's a great service. Norm's not here to clap, so, you know, it's a benefit to the citizens, and we look forward to a good turnout as always.
What's the time frame on the 21st?
10 to 2.
Thank you.
And Chief, a question on that too. I know the answer, but they can bring documents to shred, prescriptions, also computers?
Computers, there's been there's always been a group of folks who take those computers and, yeah.
TVs?
They've taken some TVs. I think there's some restrictions on whether they're tube or whatever, but,
Okay.
you know, we're going to do a Shred It. Actually, Sarah's going to do a Shred It. That'll explain all that to the public.
Okay,
So,
great.
with that, I'm going to yield my time. The Sheriff's Department today had a press conference, which we attended, about a new 311 system. Sarah knows a whole lot more about that than I do.
I don't know about that. I did bring handouts, so I come bearing gifts. We are very lucky to be a part of this new development in public safety communications. Thank you. I have extras if you need them. 311 was implemented today, and basically it is a new way for you to be able to reach non-emergency services for the police and fire department through your cell phone. You could still call the non-emergency number that everybody knows, the 317-246-4343. However, if you're out and about, you have your cell phone, you see something that you feel like you need to report that's not an emergency, 311 and go, and you get the Speedway Police Department Communications Center, especially if you're in Speedway. It works countywide, so even if you're in Marion County, you'll get a Marion County dispatcher if that's the case. I plan on sending out a lot of the information that's on this handout that I gave you, just to kind of help people distinguish between what we consider emergency situation and what we consider non-emergency situation. Obviously, this list is not all-inclusive, but, you know, we just really want the public to be educated on the proper use of 911 versus 311. It's can be detrimental to tie up emergency services calling 911 when you don't really have an emergency, but if we made it, we've made it easier with 311 to be able to get a hold of the police if you need them. So, happy to entertain any questions if you have.
And again, you mentioned, just to emphasize, I think it's important to know, if they use this, they get a hold of our dispatchers in our center.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And this is also an important week for them, correct?
This is an
On the
important
spot here.
week. Yes,
Yeah.
that was my next statement. We actually timed this to coincide with the National Telecommunications Week. I did the same thing the sheriff did. This week is the week that we set aside every year annually across the nation to honor dispatchers and the job that they do. So I'd like to take a moment to thank my people who are currently working now and then will be working every day for the next every day. They do a tremendous job. I really couldn't do it, and they make me look good. So I'm happy to have them on board. And if you call the department this week for some reason and you talk to one of those dispatchers and you want to tell them thank you, I'm sure they'd appreciate it. That's
great.
So,
Good.
Thanks for sharing that,
Sure.
all of this, but for sharing what this week means, and we do appreciate any of us that have called dispatch from time to time, know that sometimes it's a very high-stress job.
can be, yes.
So, I did have a question. David
Yeah.
mentioned if we dial 311,
Mm-hmm.
it rings here, but sometimes when others have called 911 from their cell phone, it doesn't ring here, it might ring downtown.
That's absolutely true. Unfortunately, with cell phones, they are programmed to send the calls to the nearest PSAP, Public Safety Answering Point, that the tower is situated in. So there's 5 or 6 towers here in Speedway. If for some reason your phone hits off of a tower that's outside the police jurisdiction of Speedway, it will go to Marion County. Which is why when we ask, even if you call 911, be very specific with whoever answers the phone that your emergency is in the town of Speedway, and they will get you where you need to be in the appropriate way. So,
Thank you.
Any other questions?
And just to be abundantly clear, so this only works in Marion County, right?
correct.
So,
Yeah,
and
if you're
only from
outside
a
of Marion
cell-
County, you won't get anything if you call 311 on your cell phone.
Right.
So.
And it's only from a cell phone? Is that
Only
right?
from a cell phone. Landlines still remain the same.
Okay. Perfect.
Great. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Next is our fire chief, Bob Fishburne.
Thank you. I want to thank Sarah and her staff for what they do for the fire department also. This year, as a part of the Marion County Fire Chiefs, I proposed that we give a gift to each of the PSAPs in Marion County, which includes Speedway, Public Safety Communications, City of Lawrence, and the airport. And they were very generous in doing that. So the Marion County Fire Chiefs did that, and then the fire department later this week will be doing something for our communications people. It's pretty smooth operation over there, and we actually have working fire incidents that are through public safety downtown, and Speedway Communications hands those off. So thank you, Sarah, for you and your staff and everything that you do. For us, it's just, we'll be a part of the public safety meeting tomorrow with Chief Campbell and all the law enforcement folks. And then last week, the department completed our work performance evaluations, our WPEs, over at the Wayne facility. Beech Grove, the city of Beech Grove, their firefighters and paramedics also went through that with us so that we share the cost of that. And their paramedics are able to be there. And then our work performance evaluators, our peer fitness evaluators that have been certified, Beech Grove doesn't have any. So it's just a really good partnership. So we've completed all of that. Went well. We've got a few makeups that we need to do, and other than that, that's all. I did want to say something about the Shred It. We have used Shred It. You ask about the computers. I know they will shred the hard drives right there. So if you want to donate a computer, you can take the hard drive out, get that shredded, and then I think they use the computers, if I'm incorrect. You want to be careful donating a computer that still has the hard drive because you never know where that's going to end up, but they're pretty easy to take out, and they shred it just like they do the paper. It goes through a million pieces, so just piggyback on that.
Some good information.
Any question?
Thanks, Chief.
All right.
Next is our Public Works Director. We want to hear from you again, Wendell.
More time. I also would like to thank Sarah and her group. They take calls for us and call our on-call people after hours, so a great team over there to support us all, so thank you. To the department reports, the street department projects are ongoing, the B&O Trail, the 2018 mill and pave project, the B&O Trail tomorrow, they will start digging out the rail bed, starting at the levee and working themselves east. They've changed their schedule a little bit. They did want to start at 11th and Main and work out to the west. They were afraid they would get trapped in May, so they changed their schedule and coming back to the east. So that'll be kicking off tomorrow. The other project, they're still working all the concrete. Even with the weather, we're making some footage and headway on that. And of course, the street crews are yard waste has started. They're still patching potholes. This weather will not break, so if you have a pothole, call into the street department and we'll get it on the list, and that number is 317-246-4141. So any concerns, just let us know and we'll get them on the list. On the water department side, our SRF projects are kicking off. We have a staff meeting tomorrow with our Westler Engineering Group to see if we can package our other lower cost items into one package and keep it under the bid limits. So we'll get that worked up and sent out. The tank bid will come back April the 18th. That's painting of the tank and some other maintenance items on the Meadowwood tank. That will be reviewed by engineering staff, and then we'll bring it back to council for approval towards the end of the month. Plant maintenance is ongoing. With the weather, they're struggling to get the surface plant up, so they're still working at that down there. And we had a pump bearing something on one of the wells, so that's been a project out to get repaired too. On the wastewater side, we had a couple of CSOs in the last couple of weeks due to the rain event, snow meltdowns. We had 10.5 inches of snow at one period. We've had 3.32 inches of rain last week. And on the rain, the storm event itself, overall the town did real good. We had some, in the Farley Addition, it's a flooding area out there that creates the water getting into our sanitary system, and that always goes down the pipe and it gets to the wastewater, and that's what creates some of our COs.
Wendell, can I interrupt you for just a second?
Sure.
I'm hoping they're watching in D.C. FEMA.
Yes.
I highly doubt they are. The project that we did to work on that,
The dry run diversion.
Yeah, dry run.
Yes, and I was out that day, running around checking things, and I sent pictures to our engineering staff, complimenting them on their design work and everything, because this is the highest that I've seen that diversion project come to. So with 3.3 inches that day, we did pretty good. We had a couple call-ins and concerns and stuff, and we addressed those real quick. So, but overall, the town did pretty good.
So it did what it was supposed to do.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Very
With
good.
all of our other projects that we've done over the last 10 or 12 years, everything's made an improvement and good investments.
Good.
Thank you for your support on that. So it kind of catches us out a little bit. Like I said, you know, this weather won't break for us. We're going to have some 70s and 80s this week, and then we go back to the 40s next week. One more snow and we'll be done. That'll catch us up.
You started off on the right foot there.
Yeah.
Hey, Wendell, real quick.
Yes.
Georgetown Road.
Yes,
North
that
of
is
25th Street.
working with Janice and the Public Works Director downtown. They tried to skim coat it to get us through until asphalt got going. I think it's made it worse up through there, but it is on our list for repair. So hopefully they're going to get that done before our May events start. Come back through and mill that down and get it straightened back out. Because at that time, if you remember, we were still using coal patch So that's why it's not holding in there as tight as it should.
Well, it's not the point of so much holding as it is the fact of how they laid it. I mean, it was worse. I almost rather have the chuck holes than the way that they filled those holes in.
Yeah, they had used a machine trying to skim coat it, to hold it in, and they
Okay.
probably, I wasn't there, but they probably didn't fill the potholes before they skim coated, and that's probably what created more problems up through there.
And
But
just to be
it-
clear,
It is on their list.
north of 25th Street is the city county's responsibility.
Yes, that's a thoroughfare for Marion County, City of Annapolis. And on major repairs, that is their responsibility. Ours is to do minor repairs.
Okay.
But we have a city county counselor that's working with us on it, and Jacob's been in contact with her too, so.
One question, Wendell. When you're Crawfordsville Road at High School Road, are you going west, turning into where the get-go is? Any other turn up there has the yellow, or has the white dotted lines? That does not. If you're going east, turning north onto High School, those people sometimes go out a little bit further. Is there plans to add lines? Because I think when that was built, the get-go and that turn lane was not there, that was added. Are there plans to include that, or?
Yes, that was it was supposed to have been done last year's painting season. It got off schedule. They had some new drivers that were in training and stuff, and they were supposed to catch that coming through, but it is on schedule for this spring when the city paint crews get out and done. And they will install those chicken tracks to direct that traffic over.
Is that a technical word?
It is.
Okay, just,
In my profession, yes. Maybe not yours. But that will give that guidance out there,
Okay,
so it
great.
is on schedule to be done.
Okay.
can I make a suggestion in addition to that? The arrow light and the timing on that arrow light is now that there's several restaurants and other businesses there, and there's going to be more, not to mention the hotel that'll be built and so on, it's not actually, people aren't getting through the light.
Are you saying going into the complex?
Yes, going
Okay.
to the west, going in. The challenge, of course, too, is that the actual left-hand turn lane there's more people turning left there now that fills into the main lane of traffic as well. Not that we want to add more construction to that corner and bring the turn lane back further, but it's stacked, it's queuing up, and folks aren't getting through the light.
Going into the
Yeah,
complex?
because it's slow, probably because of the
Absolutely,
dotted
yeah.
line and some other issues. People are a little tentative, so they take off more slowly, and so
Oh,
just
okay.
a few cars are getting through as
Gotcha.
opposed to 6 or 7 that might be backed up.
Yeah, me and Jacob, I think it was last fall or something, worked with the city to get some adjustments on some timing out there, so I'll start taking a look at it and see if there's something.
It's a good problem. It means there's more businesses, there's more people
Yes,
going in.
it's a great problem.
It's still a problem.
But I'll put on my notes to take a look at it.
Yeah,
I have another question for you, too.
Just to finish on that, I mean, I think that the activity continues to change, and it will continue to change even more, so we're going to kind of need to make sure we're getting Indianapolis's attention on the light and the timing just as the traffic flow continues to shift. So I think it'll just be kind of one of those things that we're kind of always be kind of a work in progress for us.
Yeah, and like Tim was talking about the 2500 project, there'll be adjustments out through there too, so we'll have to look at the overall picture. But this here, we can look at now and see if there's adjustment needs to be made.
Last fall, we approved engineer work to be done for a left turn into one of the strip malls on Crawfordsville Road, right across from Thornton's. Where is that at?
That is in design. We are waiting on third stage. I think we have a meeting to step that up. We're trying to get the attention of our MPO to get our funding moved up a little quicker because it is funded for 2019. So if we can get design and everything else and right-of-way and everything else done before then, maybe we can get our supporters to move it up on the project list a little.
And that's actually moved up, I think originally it was 2020,
2021.
2021, and we just keep getting it closer and closer, so
So the
it's,
quicker we can get design and everything else in line, it's a shovel-ready project, and maybe move it forward.
we'll be ready for it.
Perfect.
Would you like to talk any longer?
Yeah.
Wendell?
Sure, parks, Oh, they're back here clicking, I got to go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Wendell. Next is our Parks and Recreation Director, Tammy Smith, who probably wants to talk to Wendell about weather, I'm sure.
The winter concert series.
Hello. I'm actually going to start off talking about summer camps. The summer camps that we partner with the schools on, they're open for registration, underway. We're already getting registrations in, so I'm excited about that. The registrations are open online. You can go to the town website at www.speedwayin.gov to register online. We will have in-person registrations on Tuesday, May 1st, 6 to 8 p.m. at Meadowood Park, Saturday, May 5th, 10 a.m. to noon at Leonard Park, and Thursday, May 10th, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at Leonard Park. We should also have the free summer swim lessons offered again this year. And this program is only open to Speedway youth. The summer camps are open to residents and non-residents, but the free summer swimming is only open to Speedway resident youth. The sign-ups for that are on a first-come, first-served basis, and that's scheduled for Thursday, May 3rd from 6 to 8 p.m. at Leonard Park. Further sign-ups will take place on Saturday, May 5th and Thursday, May 10th during the summer camp sign-ups if space is still available. And on the subject of programming, this is a little teaser. By mid-May, we should have some adult workout programs available. So we're in some final details. I'm working out with the person that's going to be instructing those. So I'm real excited about that. So if you haven't already, go to the Speedway Parks and Recreation Facebook page, like it, and then you can kind of keep up to date on what's going on in parks. Each year, members of the General Assembly receive tree seedlings from DNR Division of Forestry. And this year, Carly Macer has chosen Speedway Parks to donate it to. And what we're going to do is we're going to offer these to the residents, to the public. These are seedlings. We won't plant the seedlings in the parks because they just won't last in the parks. But if there's any residents who want trees to replace some that they have damaged or died or past couple years with the storms that we've had, they can contact me and get on the list. We're going to get red oak, black oak, and pawpaw trees are going to be the variety. And then on a final note, I want to thank Wessler Engineering and Heritage Crystal Clean for their sponsorship donations for our 7th annual concert series this summer. And we're looking forward to a few more sponsors coming on board so we can offer a great summer of entertainment. Looking forward to it.
Just to clarify, that's the summer concert series.
It is a summer concert series. Hopefully the weather will cooperate by June.
Okay, I hope so. Beginning to have my doubts, but.
Yep.
I can't recall the date. I know we approved street closure, but the baseball, softball, junior baseball, softball parade, when is that?
I believe that's the 14th, April 14th.
That's this Saturday at 10 o'clock.
Thank you.
The MC is going to be incredible.
Your unbiased opinion.
Unbiased opinion.
Thanks, Tammy, for that answer.
Okay, you're welcome. I have schedules too for the parks summer camps if anybody would like it.
Thank you. Next is report from our town manager, Roy Jacob.
Thank you. Just a friendly reminder that the $2.50 yard waste fee does come into effect this month in April. I won't go into the same amount of detail we did earlier. Of course, this was discussed in the second meeting in January and first meeting in February, where we went into more detail about what it is and kind of some of the reasons. And with Cable's help today, we cut a quick video for just kind of reiterating, explaining what happened. So that'll be released in the near future. But just a heads up that this month, folks should see a $2.50 increase in your utility bill. Again, that's just for non-apartment residential bills. So got the fun one out of the way there. Also wanted to mention that we as a town have, I've kind of gotten some questions about this, so I'll just confirm the rumor that we did apply for a Lilly Art Grant. Had some folks kind of ask me about that. It wasn't a secret. We worked with some boards and commissions, particularly the Art Commission and CDC, to kind of start doing that application. The purpose would be some type of sculpture within the roundabout. We won't know for quite some time whether or not we get that or if we go on to the second round. Don't want to get folks too excited. Again, it's not a secret, just haven't really been saying too much about it, but I've had enough people kind of ask me about it that I just thought I'd confirm that we have applied, and fingers crossed. Also wanted to mention that we had a couple of public meetings on the wastewater grant. Unfortunately, we did not get that grant, so just kind of wanted to put a bookend on that one for now. The good news is that the next round opens up in a couple of weeks, so we'll learn a little bit more about maybe what happened. It is a competitive process, so it's hard to tell sometimes that you can have a really great application, but there can be some item notices, some folks can be under different restrictions and things that they have to meet. So it's competitive. A lot of times it's not just what your application is. It's a lot about who else is applying and what their needs were. But again, we're going to learn more about it, and we're going to reapply. In the meantime, that does open the window for us to apply for Economic Development Planning Grant, which is something that we've wanted to do. We'll actually have a public hearing for it at the next council meeting of the month. So some public ads have gone out. But the goal of that, if you see it, is really to kind of put a plan together as far as what space are we using, what makes sense for certain areas, how do we attract the businesses, and just really kind of lay out a game plan and a plan for how we're going to develop. Of course, Tim Gropp will be heavily involved in that, and SRC. And so, again, the idea is we can get some planning dollars, some grant dollars, significant dollars from the state to put a plan together. And so, failing a plan is planning to fail. I just made that up here on the spot. Feel free to use. Thank you. Feel free to use that. So it is important to do some planning, and we look forward to doing that. That's all I have. Thank you.
Next is a report from our town attorney, Mr. Clutter.
I have nothing to report.
Thank you. Report from council members. Councilor Eileen Fisher.
Well, I just want to extend my thoughts and prayers to those families in our community that have lost their loved ones, but also to thank our community for being there for our family members that are still here with us. The first responders who have to go and deliver some of these bad news and things. You know that you're in a great community when you see the people that have just wrapped their time and their arms around these people to give them the support. And I want to say thank you to everybody in our community for that. Everyone just feels like a big, huge family, and I know that anything would happen to any of us up here, that same feeling would happen, and so it's a good feeling to have, to know that there's a lot of people out there that really care. And I know that there'll still be a lot of times that we'll have to even continue that now that, just to make sure that they know that they're thought of and loved. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Councilor Jason Delisle.
I just want to say, well said, Eileen, but I have nothing else.
Councilor Gary Rakes.
Yeah, I don't think I can add anything to what Eileen said. It was really well put together. We have an amazing town we live in, and I just thank everyone as well. I guess unfortunately with the passing of Jim Oakes, that leaves a position open on the police commission, and so anyone that's interested in that position should submit their interest in that, just in case the public wasn't aware of that. But he'll be sorely missed, as will the others who were impacted in the last month.
And final is my report. If the camera can zoom in for me, I want to show something. If you can see the gavel, it's been bedazzled. Thank you. Yep. And also, each council member is wearing a ribbon, and I'd like to explain what those are. There were members, the yellow ribbon was made for the Roseboro family, and the purple was made for the Disney family. I'm not going to name names of who did it because I would miss somebody, but those people know that they are. The group that did the one for the Disney family, that's how this happened. The kids from the junior high made those ribbons here yesterday, and one of them, the girls thought they were going to be in trouble. My wife got a text at 10:30 last night because she confessed. And I think it's a great idea, and President Matthews will still be here when we get back. So I think that goes with what Councilor Fisher's saying about the town coming together to show support. Every student at the junior high and every student at the high school today was given these ribbons to wear for the purple, and then last week or the week before for the Roseboro family. So again, it shows a community coming together, and we will end the meeting keeping our thoughts and prayers with the family at 7:55. Thank you.
Thank you.